The topic for today's discussion is recursion. But before we do recursion, I would like you to understand one important, there is one small idea about swapping, how we can swap two numbers to two variables, the contents of two variables. So this is a standard thing which is being taught in any programming course. I thought for the sake of completeness, I should do. So how do we do? If you want to swap two variables, you already looked. Is there any programming problem where you are required to do? Yeah, so you have a variable, let's say in a, so y right here, I will just directly, disk. Yeah, I know some of you already got it, but so Control S, swap dot, let's go to So swap.c, so this is the program we want to hash include stdio.h. So there are two variables var a. Let's say var a contains 10 and there is another variable var b which contains 20. So we have so what we would like is we would like to swap the contents of these two variables, var a and var b. Yeah, so when we, okay. Between, are you in touch with your seniors, with UG2 students? Okay. No, not much. Okay, okay. So right now we didn't do, sorry. I just wanted to hear what is their advice for the programming course. Now that no, the vaccination is there for you, you should also be ready, maybe. So we want, so before swap it is var a is equal to 10, var b is equal to 20, and after swap we want var a should contain 20 and var b should contain 10. So if you want to understand the logic here, let's say you are given so let's say you have two tumblers. Okay, this is glass A. Okay, this is beaker A. It has some content in it, and there is, it's not visible. I understand the problem. Now it should be visible now, right? Yeah. And then we have another tumbler or beaker. You want to swap the contents of these two beakers. What do you do? This has 10, this has 20. Okay, what do we do? So we use a third empty beaker and we pour the contents of step 1. Let's call this empty beaker as pour A into this tumbler. That is step 1. What is step 2? Pour B into A. What is step 3? Pour T to B. That's all, no? And can we do exactly the same thing in the program also? So in order to swap, what do we do? So we'll have a temp variable. Temp is equal to var A. And then we say var B, var A is equal to var B. Third step is var B is equal to temp. And then we have to declare the variable int temp. That's all, no? Does this work? Are you all with me here, everyone? So now you have seen that the contents of the two variables have changed. So now comes the next question that usually what happens is we do swap. We want to call this swap multiple times. Haran has, there are other ways of doing it. Yeah, especially the on the chart you can see. Yeah, we have to take care of overflow. Okay, so I will focus on a different aspect of this problem. We usually want to, especially we didn't yet look at the sorting algorithms, which we will see in the next class. Not in next class, maybe next week. Yeah, so what do we do in sorting? So we have to call what is swap. We have to keep swapping stuff. Like for example, when you are trying to sort cards, we have to keep swapping cards, right, in our hand. So we will be doing swapping multiple times. So we need a routine for it. Okay. So let's say, so the type of this swap, what should be the parameter type for the swap? Like if I say int A, int B, is this going to work? If I swap A and B here inside, so what will happen if I do the same here? I have the nice code for swap. What is going to happen? Do you think the actual swap of, let's do this. Great, so now I want to swap. So I call the swap function, swap, var A, var B. Okay, so what is going to happen? Only the local variables here will be swapped, but the original variables var A and var B, they will be the same. Because what happens when we call to swap? What is the parameters being passed to the swap function on line number 19? On line number 19, we pass the value 10 and 20 to the swap function. So internally in the swap function, the two variables get swapped, but so the values are passed, so the swap doesn't happen. Are you all with me here? You're okay with this? So just for that, I think some of you could be perhaps be feeling shy to ask a question. So start debugging. Why is that it's I have, no, there's a way to fix it, but it is already there. No? So, yeah, GDP. So, okay, we will fix it later. Where is environment? Is C enabled? Shiva raised the hand. Maybe he could help. I have to read 1 minute. Let me enable him. Yes, Shiva, you can unmute and help me out. It was working previously, no? Same machine. What happened? Okay, I think he accidentally raised his hand. But anyway, if I thought showing like this is cool, let's see, what do we do? How do we set this? Okay, we'll revisit it. I will solve this problem later. I will instead use my favorite GDB on this terminal, GCC minus G, swap.c, GDB a.out, break swap, run, TUI enable. So now we are in, so we are running the program and we are on line number, we just entered the swap function. Are you all with me here till this point? Okay. And today we will see what is called as a program stack. So if I see, okay, let me do one more thing. So if you see BT, the program stack, you can, when I give this command BT is called as backtrace. So what it is, and BT gives the current program stack. You will understand what that program stack, we will go through it in today's lecture. So what the program stack is telling is, let's see, this is our memory. I am giving a simplified picture for the memory. Let's say this is your memory RAM. I'm giving a simplified picture. So in the memory, when the function main, when you start executing the program, you enter the function main and function main gets activated. When you start the program, when the function main gets called, the function main gets activated. The function main gets activated, and associated with the function main, there is what is called as an activation record for function main will be created. This is the activation record for function main. In this activation record for the function main, let me draw this as a solid line. Memory for variable A and memory for variable B is allocated. And this is the place where the code for main will be present. This is the code. This is the code for your whole program, just not for the main. So for main, swap, everything, the code will be present here. Perhaps if you kind of want to see it, you can say, there is a code for your function main. And there is a code for function swap is present here. This is the code. No, Bhargav, the code is loaded from secondary memory to the primary memory, na? Quiz. That's the question. So whenever you give a program for execution, what happens? When you say ./a.out, what happens? When you give a.out for execution. It is converted to executable. No? The instructions that are present in a.out on the secondary memory will be loaded to the primary memory. Are you okay with this? Because this is the, when did we discuss this idea? Because I said this is the most fundamental idea that you need to this program execution model. We have to, it should be very crystal clear to us. We looked at it in class 1 and class 2, that when we compile a program, the instructions of the program are present in the executable file on the secondary memory on your hard disk. But when you give a program for execution, the instructions of the program are loaded into the memory. Like Chrome program is present or Zoom is present on your hard disk. But when you double click the Zoom icon, then the Zoom program will be loaded into the memory and it starts executing. Are you all with me? All right. So now, the swap program. So now when main calls swap with the parameter values 10 and 20. And when main calls swap, so main calls swap, then swap becomes active. Okay, earlier swap is not active. After you call swap only, it becomes active. Okay, and swap has 3 variables, A. So after swap is called, the memory for the variables in the swap function are allocated. This is the activation record for swap. And the backtrace is this is what is called as a program stack. So usually stack means it grows. So usually stack means you put one thing on the top of other. And you can access only things on the top. Like for example, you go to a buffet. So then what happens is, and there are stack of parathas. You can only pop the topmost paratha. Yes or no? You can. it's a logical thing. No, then the stack of paratas also, you can make a mess out of it and drag a paratha in the middle, which you think is big or large or whatever, you know, looks yummy. But theoretically speaking, you kind of pop the topmost paratha if you don't want to make a mess out of the thing there. Or take the whole stack. Rushil, awesome, man. Okay. So now, if you see here, what I would like you to notice, the backtrace is telling the story that main is calling swap on line number 18, and it is called by passing the parameters 10 and 20. Okay, and now we are in swap. Okay. All good? So, is there any kind of link between var A and var B with the variables A and B? There is no link, right? It's just that they are copied. Whatever that is the content of var A, it is, let me use a different color. Var A contents are copied to A and var B contents are copied to B. And there is no association between these two variables, except that the initial values are copied. Now in this function, when you do the swap, so here the value is 10. Sorry, yeah, it came. The value is 20. So they are initially copied. So you get 10 and 20. So now when we go through this motion, okay, when you execute the sequence of these 3 instructions, and if you do print A is 20, and print B is 10. So what happened is, so what happened? This 10 got overwritten with 20, and this became 10. But the original contents of var A and var B are exactly the same. Are you with me? That the original contents of var A and var B are the same, but these A and B are modified locally. It's not going to change it. So those of you who have some doubts on this, related to this concept, this picture should give you a good understanding. So now we want to change the, we want to do better. We want to solve this problem, okay, because the swap function is not working. Okay. So now let's go back to our code. Let me clear all my drawings. So what we do is int star A and int star B and star A, star B. See, there are 2 things that are here I want to understand. Those are my 2 primary goals. First goal is, what is the basic approach to swap 2 variables? And second is this idea that, when you want to write a swap function, yeah, you are using pointers. Shivam, we should not use call by reference. There is no call by reference at all in C programming language. There is only call by value, but through call by, there is nothing like call by address. There is only call by value, but the effect that we want to get, we obtain by passing addresses. Value is address. So please keep this in mind. There is nothing like call by there is no call by reference in C. There is only one thing, that is call by value. There is only call by value, but the effect that we would like to get, that is the actual change of the contents of memory objects, we obtain by working with the address of the objects. Okay, by working with the address of the object. Don't worry about call by reference. In call by reference, what happens is the earlier code will work. When we change A and B, in the previous code that we have looked at now, it should work if it's a call by reference mechanism. So don't worry about call by reference. We are using just what is called as a call by value. I will just make one statement. The previous code that we have, it will work if it is a call by reference. Are you with me? Yes or no? Okay. So now let's look at this code. Let's compile this code and see if it runs, and yeah, we are here. Let's come out. No, you can see that the values have stopped. So now let's do gdb a.out break swap break mean run. So now again I want you to, what is the stack content? What is the program stack? What is the state of the program stack now? This is our, it has only the activation record associated with main. This is our memory and this is our code. This is the code which contains everything. And this is the, and the activation record for main, it contains two variables, var a, and so if you do printf address of var a, okay, sorry, it should be just print address of var a. So what is address of var a? And print address of var b. Address of var a is 300 and address of var the address is associated with variables that are present in the activation record. That is true. Yes. So the address of this var a is 300 and the address of var this is 304. So this is var a, this is var b, this is 10, this is 20. Are you with me here? That var a address is 300 and var b address is 304, and they are this is the activation record. I use a shorthand for main underscore AR. Main, the activation record of main, I'm just using it as main underscore AR. So now, yeah, let's continue executing. So we'll put a breakpoint on swap and we will say continue. Program executes. Next. So now, if you see, yeah, backtrace. If you see now, the activation record for, I'm drawing the activation record for swap, swap has three variables. One is A, the other is B, and the third one is temp. This is the activation record. For main underscore temp. Now, what does A contain? Can you, by looking at the stack trace, can you tell me what does A contain? The variable A contains? Variable A, I want a precise answer. Variable A contains the address of variable 300. Yes or no? And variable B contains the address of var B, that is 304. Yes or no? I hope you're all with me. Now, when we say temp is equal to star A, what happens? We go to the address 300 and at that address 10 is present. Okay, we copy 10 into. So after we execute line number 7, what will be the contents of the variable temp? Temp is equal to 10. Are you all with me here? When we say star A, then that means the address that is present in A, go to that address and fetch data. That is what it means. Great. So we are not doing call by reference. We are using a kind of different approach. It's call by value only. But we are using these pointers to kind of get our job done. And then when we do next, what do we get? So now if you do print temp, we have temp is equal to. So now when we say star A is equal to star B, yeah, we did this, Shivai, but this is recap, let's say. Star A is equal to star B. What happens? We go to the memory location associated with, can we say A is equal to star B? If we say A is equal to star B, what happens? Then the variable A gets modified, but we want the address that is present in variable, the object, we want the contents, we want the memory object associated with address 300 to change. Because of that, we have to write star A is equal to star. Now we go to next. So now what happens? So after line number 8, what is the state? What happens after line number 8? So can I say this is equal to, this gets overwritten with 20? Is it a valid thing to do? To kind of draw? I mean, we are not keeping track of, yeah, temp is still anyway. Okay, great. So now when we do next, temp is equal to star B. So this is nothing but temp contains 10. So star B refers to this location, this contains 10. So the important, interesting thing is the function swap doesn't have a written value, but it has side effect. Function swap, no written value. Just because it doesn't have written value, it doesn't mean it's not doing anything. But what swap is, but it has side effects. So this is a huge problem. So the imperative programming languages versus functional programming languages, this idea of side effects, some people like it, some people don't like it. That having a side effect which you have, which is not quite visible, it can have problems. Okay. If A is equal to star 30B, star, before I take questions, I want you to understand this. This function swap has side effects, it doesn't have written value. So yeah, philosophically speaking, in the programming languages world, some people don't like functions with side effects. In mathematics, do functions have side effects in math? When you write a function, whatever, it's a function returns a value, but it doesn't have a side effect. So in functional programming languages, this is the imperative programming language. But in functional programming languages, you want to write functions which doesn't have side effects. Okay. And then that's all. So now, but we are learning C. This is where we are. And now if you see an important point, now we are out of main, right? What will be the stack? So sorry, I drew this. What does stack contain? What does the program stack contain after this is swap underscore? So after we are out of main, what happens is the activation record associated with the swap function will be popped. Okay, it will not be. So now if we do a backtrace, you will see on the stack there is only main present. Are you with me here? The activation record associated. So that means the memory that is allocated for the variables A, B, and temp, it is deallocated. So when a function becomes active, then the associated memory will be allocated. When it becomes deactive, the associated memory is deallocated by popping the corresponding activation record from the stack. I hope you understood this. This is a big conceptual jump, very important conceptual idea we are looking today. And this will help you debug programs, understand many weird things happening, many security problems, lots of things that you will learn. When we get back to main, it doesn't start from the beginning of the main, it starts after the swap. No, when we come out of swap, then what happens? We are the stack for main should still be there now, because main is still active. No, only swap underscore AR, this part will be gone. Okay, so if I am permitted to draw, only this part is gone. So when we are out, this part is gone. Yeah, so in main, we can't print the value of A and B because swap's memory has been popped. Yes, that's true, Srija. You're all good. So shall we? I thought I will stop. This is a very good concept. And what happens if the function returned something? That value will be returned. No, even if the function returned something. So there are different ways of passing the return value to the main. One way of passing the return value is through what are called as processor registers. There is a processor, it depends on convention, there are many ways, but one simple way is the return value is passed through a processor register. But there are other ways, let's not get into the details. Yeah. Like outside this memory, in the processor, no, why gave doesn't become a variable of main, not at all. When you return A, the contents of A will be returned, not the variable A. The contents of, if A contains 10, then the value 10 will be returned. So A will no longer be there. That's it. Are you all with me here? That don't get confused when there is a return value. The return value is the value is passed, not the variable. Okay. Like for example, here, if I, for whatever reason, if we have a statement like this, return temp, the story remains the same. Okay. The value that is present in temp will be returned. Okay. How it is returned is an interesting story. There are something called as processor registers you can send. But what is not allowed is, if you do this, what happens? Like for example, return address of temp. Can we do return address of temp? Why we cannot do return address of temp or return address of A or return address of B? No, one is of course the return type is int. We can kind of, that's not the problem. I can typecast it to int and send it. That's not the problem. The memory that is allocated to temp is over after you are out of swap. So whomever is using that address, you are just messing up things. Are you with me here? That line number 12, you are returning an address of a memory object which is deallocated. You can go and manipulate it, but your program will be buggy because it will be allocated for something else. Your whole thing will be a mess. Yeah, once we are out, no address of temp doesn't have. Once we are out of swap, then variable A, the memory associated with variables A, B, and temp, they are deallocated. They doesn't have any semantics. They are there, but they doesn't have any semantics. They will be allocated for some other function. No, it doesn't matter. Once we are out of swap, the memory that is, all I want you to understand is once we are out of swap, the memory that is allocated to the variables, the memory that is allocated to variables A, B, and temp is gone. You cannot use them. The address temp, like for example, it could be like for example, after swap, printf is called, right? The printf will be using this memory. We may not get a segmentation fault also, but so what happens is after swap is out, this memory after swap is out, swap is out, this memory, this chunk of memory, it could be allocated to printf's activation record because we are calling printf on line number 20. So printf is using this memory location and you are still manipulating it, assuming temp is present there, then what will happen? Do you understand what is happening? Are you all with me? The memory allocated for swap is gone. And now you call printf. Printf is trying to use that memory. And you are thinking you are manipulating the address of temp. That means you are clobbering with the printf's functionality. Okay. Okay, so I think I will stop here. I want you to think about this and understand. No, returning value is different, Amoga. Returning value, we are not returning address now. We are returning value. Value is no, it's like an apple in the house. You can, when someone gives an apple from the house, even after the house gets destroyed, you can still eat the apple, no? Yes or no? So there is a house, in the house there is an apple. If you just give the address of the house, but that house is no longer yours, someone else is using the house. So if you go try to find an apple, instead of finding an apple, you may find an orange, but that's the least of the problems. But what if there is a dinosaur there? He will be eaten. Okay. So yeah, so but you can still eat the apple. No? Apple is given to you, you eat. But don't go and check the address and see, hey, I might find an orange or I may find no whatever. So do you get the analogy? Like the address of your house is not yours. It's over. It will be used by someone else. But the contents is given to you. Enjoy it. That's all. Okay. Okay, I'm in a holiday mode, so no more class. So can we return the address of a variable A in swap function dot here? No, that's what Harsha, that's what I'm telling you now. You can return the address, but once you are out of it, the local variable, that variable address doesn't mean anything. In this, there is no return value here. It doesn't matter actually. That's true. But even when you return the address, don't worry about the address. Okay, we should not be doing that. If you do it, you will be in trouble. Think that if you are returning an address and if you are using that returned address, no, the returned value, it will be, so okay. This is true for main also. Just take a different picture. When a value is returned, so I want you to, there will be a what is called as a register file present in the processor. Register file has many registers. Like for example, if you are returning value 10, that 10 will be present in this register AX, and the function that is calling you, if it cares about the return value, it will look into the register 10, and if it doesn't care, it doesn't look into register 10. Like for example, printf returns a value, you are not caring about it. So what happens if you don't care about it? You don't look into it. But if you care about it, you store it in some variable and look into it. Are you with me here? That the return value, this is the return value, is passed through a separate mechanism. Whether you want to check that return value or not, it's up to you. In printf, we are ignoring. That's a trick question in the exam. No? So someone didn't like it. So, but sometimes you want to know the return value, in which case you have to go and examine it. That's all. Okay, so I'll stop here. I hope, are you all with me on today's lecture? Happy, generally speaking, at a high level? Learned some new ideas? Okay, good. So, syllabus for midsem. So, syllabus for midsem, yeah. Whatever that is there, no? You tell me, let's say, how you can say syllabus for midterm. So, when whoever is asking that question, no, what answer you are expecting me? That you can have only from this point to this point. How can you have a conceptual understanding when no? We cannot return more than two things. We can return only one thing, Harsha, from the same function. If you want to return more than two, we have to construct what is called as a structure. Whatever that is discussed till the day before the exam, it will be there in midsem. Midsem is Jan 10th, right? Yeah, Jan 10th. Okay. There's a lot more time. Happy New Year, no? So, hey, I have a question for you. Do you want class on January today on January 1st or I cannot declare a holiday officially. But what are you going to do? Okay. You're still all isolation or whatever. Okay. We will see. We will see. But we will see. I think maybe a small, no, like Shreya or someone said maybe a 15 minutes class wouldn't or no wouldn't be bad idea. We will see. Yeah. Okay, maybe yeah, not a bad idea. We will have briefly meet up 10-15 minutes max. What do you say? We'll meet 10 minutes and okay then. Okay, so we'll just meet and exchange hello. Okay. Okay then. We will I'll see you on Jan 1st. Bye. Okay, tomorrow 2 o'clock you have an exam. It will be easy. Don't panic. Okay. Yeah. Bye.